But I'm excited for this one. I've been anticipating this class for a while. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining us on our free photo class. Today it's on Fridays. Usually it's on Wednesdays. We had some technical difficulties on Wednesday, but hopefully we've solved all that, right, Alicia?
Yeah.
And funny enough, the word of the week is anticipation. So it was funny on Wednesday because we were all like, come on, we're really like looking forward to this. We're anticipating it. And then it was all a wash. So we're really excited to see your photos and dive into this. I do want to give everyone a few minutes to come on here. I know not everyone's used to a Friday class. So Alicia, tell us a little bit about your, you went on a fun shoot the other night, didn't you?
Yeah,
something
just
you normally do.
I wanted to do, yeah, because it was a cool spot in Boston, and I got to get back there a couple more times to hit the sunset on the head, anticipate a good one. But I ended up, hold on one sec.
That's okay. So guys, Alicia, if you've been listening to our shows, you know that we're both portrait photographers, right? We love working with people. That's why we're here and always having conversations with you guys. But my passion comes from the travel side of things, right? So when Alicia and I first reconnected, we met in college, but then we reconnected 8 years later. It was on a road trip, like push into getting in more life and fun photography. So I thought this would be a cool way to start off this week's class, because she stepped out of her normal comfort zone of working with portraits and having to anticipate things to going out and shooting a natural landscape scene. But you did try to anticipate a couple things, right? Like you wanted sunset. You were thinking, you were anticipating the light that you wanted and the look that you wanted, right?
Yeah, and I didn't get it. So it mostly was because of the smoke and the fog, the fire, from California reaching the East Coast. It's very hazy. So like the sunsets, the colors you start to learn a lot about how it actually works through clouds or smoke or, different lighting. So you can anticipate a little bit, but not too much, because it varies from day to day and how things refract and reflect and whatever. So
really what you're anticipating is the constant change, which is something you and I are always thinking of when we're shooting portraits too, is like this idea that you're just going to know how the shoot is going to go is complete crap. Like you can have a vision and a mission and like this goal you're leading towards, but you can only anticipate so much, and then you're really just anticipating constant change. Like it's always gonna.
And even with that, like I was trying to get like a pano shot like you do, and I don't know. I don't think I was doing it right, or I didn't have the right lens, because I felt so far away that like it was like the skyline was too far for, so I needed a different lens. So even those things are like, I need to invest in that lens, or
anticipating the equipment you'll need for a shoot.
Yeah. So it was a good thing. Next time I go, I'll have a better, understanding of it, and where I want to be.
That's the point I love about this is like, you're going to show us a picture. You said you got something cool, right? I kind of want to
show it. Yeah. The haziness actually ended up being kind of cool, but there was a lot of sailboats and a lot of movement, and to do a panoramic shot like that, maybe I'd be better off at night, when not too much stuff is going on.
Yeah. If you guys joined us for Warrior Weekend last month, we did in the advanced class, we really hit on HDR photography and panoramic photography, and not so much like we're all about like getting that foundation, right? So I love that this isn't something Alicia does on a typical basis, but she went out with those tools. She knew how to do these things. But again, you're constantly trying to anticipate, that's our word this week, what's actually happening with the camera, what's actually happening in a pano shot. And one of the things we always say is like, don't try and shoot panoramic photography when there's a bunch of moving things going on around you, because it's so confusing, it's so hard, and you can't really stitch them back together too easily. So Yeah,
everybody is in the seaport and harbor sailing right now in Boston.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, not gonna work.
Or you like you said, it's about the equipment, right? So you're talking about anticipating the time of day for great lighting, but also, is it going to be busy in the harbor? What's that look I'm going for with the lighting? And then you're anticipating, you get there and you're like, oh, a pano shot could work here. But now you're anticipating all these other aspects of a panoramic image that is not like a typical just single clip.
So I'll show you what I did get, and I just edited it real quick. But
so those of you who are watching on Instagram, we are combining our Instagram lives with our free classes. If you guys love the photography side of this, head on over to livewonderful.clickmeeting.com and you can see what we're looking at right now. Alicia's going to show off her pictures here. So, and those of you who are watching us live in our free classes, feel free to chime in, ask questions. This word, we dived right into the photography stuff because I really was excited to see what Alicia shot. But I do want to back up and bring you guys some Wednesday wisdom about this word, unrelated to photography, and kind of just focus on this word and what it means. What does it mean to anticipate things, right? So when you've got that camera, we always say here at Live Wonderful, that camera is the best creative tool you can ever have to try and understand yourself. You are constantly anticipating things because you're looking for that shot. You want to be one step ahead. So it's a great tool to have to learn about how you can anticipate these moments and be ready for them. So I'm seeing a white screen. Have you brought the picture up?
I did.
All right, you got to close it and bring it back up because I don't see it.
Interesting.
I'm anticipating this picture.
I uploaded it.
Beautiful.
Okay. So, I mean, to me, I probably could have, done better with this shot. That's just me. But I didn't realize all these sailboats were going to come jetting around the corners from left and right, and people, boating.
And they look like they're flying, like they're moving pretty fast.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that moment too, I'm like, I gotta actually boost up my, shutter speed and like figure out settings. I'm like, and I was on a tripod too at time. I was like, oh, I'm going to take it off my tripod now. Like, my lens, like I didn't know what to do. Like I went into it thinking this is what I'm going to do. And then it completely went off track, derailed itself. And yeah, this is one of the shots I just quickly wanted to showcase for that experience.
And I've never been here with you before, so I want to ask, are you at like a water's edge? Is it a dock? Is it like a man-made structure?
It's actually rock, so this is probably lower tide where I actually went to go walk out onto the rocks with the moss and everything. There was tons of fish, dead fish and stuff everywhere, but it was cool. You actually had to go out and be closer to the sailboat. So it was it's like a jetty type thing you walk out onto.
You guys who are looking at this picture, you see that? Do you see how my first question was, where is Alicia? I'm anticipating, or even if I'm imagining being here wanting to get this shot, see how the base of her image, the water feels closer to you and higher to you. It doesn't feel like it's still out there in the distance. The water in the bottom of this shot looks like you could reach down and almost touch it. And I know there's two things I know about that. One, she's physically close, right? You know that the closest object to your camera is going to be the biggest. So when we see that water getting, the ripples getting bigger and the texture in the water is bigger than it is in the distance, it's closer. But also the way she's framed it, you don't know where the end is, right? She could be in a boat. She could be on a dock. It's kind of, I like that, how the water kind of it leaves you with this mystery that you're not quite sure where you are. And, there's that sunset with that beautiful golden light just trickling right through the water, coming right down at you. So I'm sure when you got there, you were kind of anticipating, where can I climb down to these rocks? You're anticipating the shot you want, but then you've got to put yourself in the scenario and go, well, how do I get to that spot to get that?
I actually had it on a tripod, on more land. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to be a little rebel and just like walk out on this jetty where probably no one ever walks to. But then I realized, you could see some remnants of other people. I'm like, oh, we go there all the time and really chill and hang out. So I'm like, this is perfect. And like setting my tripod up there was just closer. I was above the water still, but closer to the subjects that I wanted to capture. So.
And let's talk for a minute about, like, I know you haven't really edited all your shots. And edited, guys, I'm using this as a full term of narrowing down her pictures in Lightroom, but then also choosing which of her favorite ones she's going to enhance and pop the color and edit that way. So I know you haven't had time yet to do a full edit on these, but you did pick this shot, and I have a good guess as to why compared to some other shots. But let's talk for a minute about the anticipation of all this movement. Mm-hmm. So you show up to a scene, you got this idea that you're anticipating this vision you're going to have. That all goes to hell because now you're dealing with all these other things in front of you, and you have to rethink your whole situation. And one of those things was movement. Mm-hmm. So movement is a big thing that you are timing, and you have to be so present with being in the moment to anticipate the movement of those boats. Like I can imagine your mind getting really quiet and you're like, okay, steady, where's the boat? Where do I want to click when the boat gets to a certain point?
Yeah, it was not easy. I'm actually having these things move into the frame too. So I had to look through the frame, anticipate where I thought, they'd set up and be good. Yeah. I mean,
you've got all these layers, right? So I can imagine, like, you don't know what boat's gonna pass in front or behind, or like.
No, there was other boats coming from the other direction too. Like, so it was all crossing each other, and this was the first one I just kind of grabbed. But just trying to capture it as they were coming by and not have control of which boat where. And
one of the things I do. And a lot of times, you got to pick your focal point to be able to do this. But one of the things I love to do is actually in that mindset of anticipating the shot, I pick my focal point. I'll hold down halfway, right? Because when you push down halfway on your camera, DSLR mirrorless cameras, you're going to get that focus. Your camera's going to lock focus where the focal point is. And it's also going to measure the light. So I will hold down halfway when I know my settings are ready and I've kind of, you're still messing with your frame. You guys know we call it the dance. You look like a fool, but you're kind of doing this constantly because you're looking for that frame. But once you have that moment, I will wait as long as I need to with my finger pressed halfway down, anticipating that shot because I don't want to refocus and miss the moment. So there's a lot of little tricks we can do to prepare ourselves in all that anticipation to still get the trick of get that shot, right in the right timing when you have no idea what that moment's going to be. Well, I know one of the things I want to see the cake smash. I know you've got some.
Yeah, I can pull that up for
sure. And while you pull those up, I want to rewind a little bit and I'm actually going to share a couple quotes that have made me think really differently about this word. Because, and this word can mean a lot of different things to everybody. And we say this all the time, but sometimes it's obvious how this word can, help you learn more about yourself, like the word focus or timing we've talked about. Anticipation doesn't really seem like one of these words that just like grounds you. In fact, for me, it kind of feels a little like anxiety, right? Like there's this energy to it. So I went looking for some cool quotes to kind of, get some thought-provoking ideas. So I'm just going to read them out and see if anything hits home for you guys, okay? This one's by a guy named Norman Cousins. He's an American journalist from the early 1900s. Wisdom consists of the anticipation of consequences. So wisdom exists in the anticipation of consequences. So consequences could be good or bad. They're just the outcome of making a choice, right? Mm-hmm. The anticipation, that's you being wise about those consequences and preparing ahead of time, right? So I never thought about anticipation relating to preparation, but they really do go hand in hand, and not just in photography, but in life. If you're preparing yourself and anticipating for these consequences or these choices you're making and the consequences that come from those choices, then you're being a much more wise person in what you're doing.
Yeah.
I like this one too by Mark Halperin. Anticipation is the heart of wisdom. If you're gonna cross a desert, you anticipate that you will be thirsty, so you take water. That's a very simple concept, but we think about all the different tools we need for a photo shoot, and not just physical equipment tools, but how about the tools that are your personality and how you're connecting with the people that you're photographing? So I'm gonna have Alicia pull up these cake smash pictures, because I know for sure working with kids and prepping your portraits and anticipating that shot is one of the hardest things to do. This
So
look at that first picture. I love it.
Isn't that cute? Yeah. She was a mover, this little kid. I mean, we started outside, some fun family photos, which worked out very well. Even on the ground here, she was moving. I couldn't anticipate what she was gonna do,
Guys, look at where is Alicia in these pictures? Where is she right now?
I'm rolling on the ground with this little girl. So to get on her
belly on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I needed extra hands. Obviously, her parents have to be those extra hands, maneuvering her around. So it worked, and like these are super cute.
High energy. So anticipation is about knowing the type of energy that's already there and how are you going to work with it to get those candid, natural expressions. How old was this kid? Like, what'd you say, a year?
Turning 1. Yeah, she's turning 1. So the whole cake smash thing, though, is like, okay, like I'm putting a white backdrop down and I'm controlling the lighting and stuff, obviously. But
Denise is asking, I'm sorry, Denise is asking, was this taken inside or outside?
The cake smash is taken inside. I rolled out a big white paper backdrop that we could just destroy because the cake was going to be on it. And I'd cut it off. But I use external flashes when I go inside for things like this to light it up. So yeah, this is all in about, I don't know, we probably did this within a half an hour, maybe a little bit more. She was moving from the beginning. We wanted some shots without the cake. And oh my God, it took us an army. It was the mom, the dad, and the guy's parents too. So there was 4 of them, hands on deck, like huddling her in a way, just putting her back into the middle of the paper. And
another thing, guys, another tool in your tool belt is help.
Yes,
okay?
like this is help. You know what I mean?
Anticipate that this is true for life. Anticipate that you cannot do this alone. And if that's true, ask for help, get help. But no,
you're gonna have shots like this. Like it was hilarious, but
and I can imagine you are probably sweating. You're constantly like in your own.
These are behind the scene real, time.
You know what it's like to be at a photo shoot. Dad is knocking the baby on the head.
So, I mean, we're just giving you reality here. So
I love the one on the bottom. Yeah. What was that? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you go with it. You see what the kid's gonna do, and you try not to control it too much. You want to obviously try and continue to keep her in that same area, and that takes help, like you said. But as soon as we put that cake down, I mean, she was like, "Yup, okay."
Yep,
like
I'm on it.
These are proof, so they're a little bit blown out in some areas, and I still got to edit. But as soon as she was sitting there, I was like, "Oh my God, let's see what she's gonna do." Like, I don't know what she's gonna do, and like she was going.
And that's the fun of a cake smash, okay? Like some kids are like, "Ew." And other kids are like, nah. So
you
you're anticipating all that.
You can't force any kid. They're gonna do what they want to do, you know. And I think that's how you have to go into some situations, especially in photography, is whatever the kid's gonna do, you capture it, because like they're gonna laugh back on it, you know, down the road.
And it's true for things in life too. Like we have, you know, it's a mix between having this vision and preparing yourself to anticipate a best case scenario and really have creative control over what you're doing, and then letting it go and watching and connecting with the moment and anticipating this constant change that's going to help you create a way better picture than just that one shot you had in your mind. Letting it kind of just, like you said, just go with it, right? Letting it just unfold. But a word that's coming up in my mind right now is awareness, which is the first word we ever did when we started doing these Wednesday Wisdoms. If you are becoming more and more aware of your scene, then you're going to be able to anticipate what you want or what could possibly happen next. You got it?
Sorry, I was like, I don't know where my thing went, but I can show you the end too here. Yeah. It's like the dad came in and was like, "Here, just get all in it," you know, and you can just have fun with kids.
Look at her legs. Look at those chunky legs. I love it.
Oh my God, yeah. So she had fun, and you just gotta go with it and have fun too. And sometimes when we plan too much, it gets a little overwhelming, you know.
I call it unplanned plan.
Yeah. So let me get out of there.
Yeah, undo it. You just let it. So I want to show you a couple shots as well. I want to give you guys a couple of tricks with shooting kids. But I also like, even if you're not into shooting, even if you're just listening in and getting a bit of creative inspiration, these are some psychological tips that we can use in any conversation, any way we're working with our subjects, or just connecting with people in general. So let me bring up. I'm going to bring them up one at a time. But first, I'll give you a little bit of background. This was originally supposed to be a newborn shoot in the hospital. COVID hit. We turned it into a family shoot at the house. So my initial anticipation was birth shoot, mom and baby in the hospital, awful lighting, probably, you know, can't bring a bunch of equipment, gonna shoot really wide open, low f-stops, all this stuff. I was anticipating and visualizing this newborn baby shoot. Well, that all went to the wayside. And then I find out we're shooting at home with her 4- and 3-year-old sons as well. So now this is a completely different photo shoot. Yes, it was about the baby and the new addition to the family, but this was no longer just a newborn shoot. This is now a high energy family shoot and when you're photographing anybody between the ages of walking and 5, anybody else in that photo shoot has no control. That 1 to 5-year-old has all the control over the shoot. So I had 2 of those in this shoot. The newborn, we can handle that. She can cry it out, get fed, take a little break, whatever we need to make sure she's happy. But to keep these kids, this 3 and 5-year-old boys, to keep them not only in the right pose and controlled, but also keeping their personalities in the shot is key to getting a great family portrait and showing off who they really are. So first off, showing up to this shoot, I'm scouting, right? I'm looking for a location within this house, excuse me, has great lighting, or at least good enough lighting. I can always bring in external lighting. And a place that's going to be easy for me to work in. So the couch with a great blank background is fun and easy place. So what I do with the kids and what I tell all of my parents when we're shooting is, first, do not help me with the kids. And that is one of the hardest things for a parent to do, is to let go of their job as a parent for a few minutes. But the reason why I do this is because I want that parent to be able to enjoy themselves in the shoot as well, right? I want them to relax into it and not be all flustered, right? So I'm anticipating how I want mom to be as well. Don't worry about the kids, let them have fun. So this mother is looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm letting her 3 and 5-year-old jump up and down on the couch, run around, throw toys. Like, they're not supposed to be doing any of this. And I'm like, we're just having fun. I'm their new best friend having fun. Now, if you're shooting your own kids, this is going to feel different, right? Because your kids are used to you. They know you. They feel like you can't trick them anymore. So these kids got to know me pretty quick, and they didn't want to listen to me, right? They would do one thing and then they'd run off and do their own thing. So I turned it into a game, okay? And the game is always a 1, 2, 3, and something happens on 3. So first we got to play the game. No camera, no pose, no nothing. And so all we did red light, green light, but you can't wait. 1, 2, 3, green light. Something happens on the 3. So I'll spend 10 or 15 minutes not only getting these kids to get to know me and have fun with them, psychologically get them into my world, playing my game where they're reacting to me. No parents are the parents can be involved in fun, but they're not telling the kid what to do. The kid and I are now connecting, right? Or kids. And then everything is, now we're going to do it in this spot. Can you stand right here? And we're going to count to 3 and they're allowed to jump. So 1, 2, 3, and something happens on 3 is a super helpful trick with kids. The second thing to keep in mind is if these kids are jumpers and runners, or like your kid who was never going to sit still, right? Even though you sat her there, she wanted to just keep crawling away. Mm-hmm. You guys can keep your high shutter speeds, obviously. But also don't be afraid to use burst mode and overshoot. I do that a lot with kids because I don't want to force my brain to focus on quality control of my images when half my mind is to be focused on these kids looking good and feeling genuine. So you're using two sides of your brain here. How do I get them having fun, but also make sure I have good quality photos every time I click? Burst mode is great. Right now, these kids they have their mouths open, they're laughing at me, big smiles, right? What I told them in this moment was I had a ball in my hand. What was I gonna do on 3? I was gonna throw the ball at them. I made them anticipate the throw, okay? So all of these games, all of this psychology on how you're communicating with people is about the anticipation. This shot was taken on 2. Right? So I'm saying 1, 2, 3, and I'm throwing the ball. 1, 2, 3, and I'm throwing the ball. The 3rd or 4th time, I'm going 1, 2. Are you guys ready? Click, click, click. And they're like, yeah, I'm ready for the ball. Yeah, yeah. And I'm clicking, and then I say 3 and throw the ball. So the whole game, whatever the game is, it is about anticipation. You can do the same thing with adults. Maybe not playing a game, but you're anticipating their nervousness and you're mirroring that, right? I know it's nervous to be in front of the camera. It's totally normal. Anticipating how they're going to feel or how their personality is going to come out is the only way you're going to get that genuine expression. We cannot expect, correct me if I'm wrong, Alicia, but I cannot expect someone to just show up and know how to smile genuinely at the camera. That's not.
Some people feel awkward, and then they get it mentally in their head that they're awkward, and
exactly, and then they stiffen up. And the more you shoot people, the more you will see the structure of muscles in the face, and you'll know when someone's giving you that fake look or fake smile. Hi, Britt. Hi, Chloe. Thanks for.
I want to add to all this too. Is like, I mean, even a shoot like this and in home, newborn mom. Like, sometimes I like letting the client like give me some ideas if they've seen some,
absolutely,
kind of, go that route. But I don't want either of us to anticipate, anything from the beginning too. I want to be able to get there and like see everything creatively, where the light's coming in. Like, don't go into a shoot like having some sort of like
perfect look. Yeah, I completely agree. Even with my brand shoots and working with businesses, which has a much more structured thing that you need to focus on shooting, whether it's a perfect product shot or what was it recently? Oh, it was a business consultant in her office, right? So she sent me a couple cell phone pictures of her office space. I saw the window, I saw the backdrop, I saw her bookshelf. I asked her, like, show me from the office what's behind the office. Where am I gonna stand? So I definitely went in with a bit of anticipation of, I definitely wanted to bring extra lighting. I knew she didn't have good lighting in there, and I wanted to bring extra lighting. And I was anticipating this structured look of her sitting at her desk. But other than that, yeah, I'm leaving all of that up to when I get there. I'm not forcing myself to think I have to get this very specific type of image, because you're kind of losing track of the creative side. You're letting go of any possibilities that you could get something better than that.
Right. It's different from being prepared to like having like a strict plan.
Exactly.
So you can be prepared, but don't try and force things.
Exactly.
Because they're gonna unfold, and sometimes that there's so much beauty in that unfolding. And
isn't that true for everything in life?
Yeah, for sure.
There's another quote I pulled, but I'll probably butcher it a little bit, but the concept is, the joy of life is in the anticipation of life. So, and Esther Hicks talks about this all the time too. It's like, this is the joy we get being behind the camera, is like, okay, I can anticipate this story I'm about to bring to life, but I can also anticipate the magic. I have no idea what's going to happen. And that is pleasure in itself. Yeah. So I want to bring up this picture to actually prove a point about the next picture I'm going to show you guys, which is the one shot that Mom wanted. The one vision she did come to the shoot with was, I want a picture of my boys loving on their new sister. So as soon as I saw where this chair was with this lighting, again, I hadn't been in their nursery yet. We did the downstairs shoot with the family. I always make sure I get a family shot and then go into the more creative stuff. As soon as I saw this chair, I, in that moment, anticipated this vision, her vision, of the two boys coming from either side of the armchair, kissing on the baby while she was holding it. So for me to anticipate that shot, I had to prepare. So I set her up first. I got my ambient lighting. There's just a little reflector on her. There's no external lighting on this shot. It's very overexposed, which we do a lot with interior portrait shoots if we're not using external lighting. So obviously you can see the back, the window light is totally blown out. Even part of the chair is blown out. But I'm okay with that, because this shot is, I had to use a faster shutter speed, because let me show you the next picture I used this shot to prepare for, was the boys literally running in to kiss their sister on, to come in and kiss the sister. So I have a series in burst mode, higher shutter speed. I told the kids to wait behind me. I said, look at mommy and baby Tupelo. Aren't they beautiful? And I made the boys wait. I said, wait a minute, we're not going to play our game yet. Because I didn't just want to pose them there. I wanted them to run into the scene. And I purposely told boy number one, you're going to go to that side. I want you to run. Do you see over there? And boy number two, you're going to run to that side. And I just want you to go love. I didn't know what was going to happen, right? So burst mode, focused on mom and baby. I said, 1, 2, 3, go get your little sister. And ran over, and I have about 30 shots. Maybe 4 or 5 of them are great, where everyone's smiling. You can see the faces. So this was one of them. And then this was another one that I did not, this was just, again, candid and fun. Why does mom love this picture? It's not perfect, right? Those kids are, they're not, you can't see their faces very well. She loves it because it's genuine. She looks great because she's genuinely smiling at her 3 children. So that word, anticipation, helps you create more creative stories. If you can prepare and think ahead, you can play with movement and energy differently. And not just with people, but boats and all kinds of stuff like Alicia showed you. So does anyone have any questions about anticipation? I know we've got a few people live here on the class. You guys can always reach out to us at hello@livewonderful.com. And before I forget, remember it's Friday, guys. We don't normally do our classes here on Fridays. We're going to be coming back to you on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. We're going to stick to our lives here. I hope everyone was able to catch this on Facebook too. We got that stream working. So if you guys have any questions, you can always add them into the comments here. Reach us through email and join us next week because we've got all new words coming up and new photo tips for you. Alicia, will you put in the link? You guys can go sign up right now for next week's class. It's livewonderful.clickmeeting.com. And we'll be posting a few days before so we can give away our word of the week, our wise word, and you guys can think about it ahead of time. But use this word through the weekend. How can you anticipate your moments and really be present to what you're going through, what you're creating in life? I've got a lot of friends here in town for a gathering this weekend, so I'm looking forward to, the anticipation of a unique weekend, not a typical normal weekend of just doing the same old thing. So go out, have fun. What do you have fun going on this weekend?
I don't know. I'm pretty spontaneous lately, so
I love it. I love it. Leave the anticipation at the door.
That's right. I try and do it all the time. Awesome.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for hanging out on Instagram and Facebook. We will see you next week. Bye, everyone. Bye.